Your words create attraction or repulsion. What if I told you that a single phrase, said at the right moment, in the right tone, could flip the entire dynamic between you and a woman? Not because it's slick, not because it's rehearsed, but because it comes from a place most men have never tapped into: calm certainty and inner power. Most guys speak to impress. Stoic men speak to express truth, without attachment to outcome. And that's why their words hit different. Because attraction isn't just physical, it's energetic, psychological, emotional. It's not just about what you say, it's about the energy behind your words and the presence you carry when you speak them. The wrong words at the wrong time? They'll make you look weak, needy, replaceable. But the right words, grounded in clarity and self-respect, they'll leave her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. This isn't about pickup tactics. It's about reclaiming your masculine frame and learning to speak with the kind of depth, simplicity, and confidence that makes her feel something real. In this video, I'll share 8 powerful phrases that unlock emotional connection, spark curiosity, and make you unforgettable. Not because you're trying hard, but because you've mastered the ancient Stoic art of masculine self-possession. Let's begin. Part 1. There's something different about you, and I can't quite name it. Most guys try to label women. You're gorgeous, you're smart, you're funny. It sounds nice on the surface, but deep down, it's forgettable because it's expected. But when you look at a woman and say, there's something different about you and I can't quite name it, something changes. You're no longer describing what's obvious. You're inviting her into a moment of mystery. And women live for that feeling, the sense that someone sees something in them even they don't fully understand. This phrase plants a seed in her mind. She'll replay it hours later. She'll wonder, what did he feel? What did he see? And that's the magic. You've become unforgettable without trying. Most men look at a woman's surface and comment on what's easy to notice. But Stoic men, the men with depth, poise, and observation, tune into something different. They see energy, presence, subtlety. They recognize what others overlook. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your thoughts are calm and deep, your words leave an imprint. Say this phrase slowly, with quiet certainty, and then leave space. Let the silence stir her curiosity, because when a woman senses that you're not here to flatter, but to witness, you become the most interesting man in the room. Part 2. I'm drawn to women who don't apologize for who they are. There's something magnetic about a woman who doesn't shrink to fit in, who walks into a room with presence, who doesn't sugarcoat her opinions or dilute her truth just to be liked. When you say, I'm drawn to women who don't apologize for who they are, you're doing more than complimenting confidence. You're creating a filter. You're saying, this is what I respect, this is what I notice, this is what stands out to me. And without realizing it, you've just laid down a subtle challenge. Are you living in full truth, or still waiting for permission? She'll either rise to meet your standard, or quietly disqualify herself. Most men reward beauty, but high-value men reward authenticity. And in a world where so many people are performing, being unapologetically real is rare. Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Freedom starts when you stop asking for approval. And a woman who lives free becomes unforgettable. But here's the twist. When a woman hears this from a man who also lives freely, who owns his values, his energy, his direction, it hits different. You're not just recognizing power in her, you're mirroring it. So when you say this line, make sure it comes from truth, not from a script. Say it when she does something bold, honest, real. And when you do, watch how the air shifts. Watch how she looks at you. Because now she sees a man who isn't trying to impress. He's living by standards. Part 3. That spark you have when you talk about what you love, that's rare. Most compliments are lazy. They focus on what's easy to see, a dress, a smile, a hairstyle. But none of that creates lasting impact. What truly lingers is when someone sees the moment your soul comes alive and honors it. When you say, that spark you have when you talk about what you love, that's rare, you're doing something few men ever do. You're validating her passion, not just her appearance. You're catching a glimpse of her inner fire and reflecting it back to her. That's not flattery, that's resonance. Think about how rare it is for someone to pause and truly observe. To notice that shift in energy when she speaks about her craft, her purpose, or something that lights her up inside. In that moment, you're not trying to impress her. You're not seeking a reaction. You're just noticing, fully, calmly, and clearly. That's presence, and presence is magnetic. This phrase hits because it reveals that you're not distracted, that you're listening with your eyes, your intuition, and your emotional intelligence. You're showing her, I see beyond the surface, I see the real you, and that part, that spark, that's what makes you unforgettable. Epictetus said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Most men view women as objects of desire. You view her as a living expression of passion, soul, and energy. And when your view goes deeper, your energy becomes unforgettable. Pro tip, say this phrase when the moment is real. When she's sharing from her heart. When you see that flicker in her eyes or the shift in her tone, don't overdo it. Say it once and let it land. Because when a woman feels truly understood, even for just a second, she won't forget the man who saw her light. Part 4. I might be a little too much for you. This line isn't meant to push her away. It's meant to pull her into the unknown. Delivered with a calm smirk and grounded posture, it creates a paradox. You're interested, but not impressed. You're open, but not eager. And that balance is deeply attractive. When you say, I might be a little too much for you, you're not questioning her worth. You're raising the emotional altitude of the interaction. You're introducing the idea that you are the standard, not out of arrogance, but because you've done the work. And that's rare. This flips the dynamic instantly. Now she's not evaluating you. She's wondering, am I ready for someone like this? You've triggered intrigue, challenge, and even a little bit of healthy tension, the kind that makes interactions unforgettable. Seneca once said, he who is brave is free. And this phrase is an act of bravery. It says, I know who I am. I won't shrink for comfort. Most men are afraid to seem too much, too direct, too ambitious, too intense. But when you own your intensity without apology, you set yourself apart from 99% of men who dilute themselves to be accepted. And that's exactly why she won't forget you. Part 5. Most people only see the surface. I'm not one of them. This is a statement of depth, not just about her, but about you. In a world obsessed with filters, surface-level attraction, and validation, this phrase communicates that you're not here to be entertained. You're here to perceive. And most women have never been looked at that way before. When you say most people only see the surface, I'm not one of them, you're telling her that you see beyond the roles, the makeup, the performance. You notice what others miss, the way her energy shifts when she's nervous, the tension in her voice when she cares too much, the conviction behind her silence. That kind of perception, rare, powerful, disarming. This line lands especially well when she opens up, even a little. It creates emotional safety while also showing that you are not the average man. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And that's what this phrase does. You don't need to justify your standards or your interest. You embody presence, and presence always sees more than appearance. Most men try to impress, but when you speak with calm, clear observation, you impress without trying. Part 6. I don't give access easily. Earned things are valued. This is where you reclaim your emotional territory, without being defensive, without needing to prove anything. It's not a wall, it's a boundary of worth. By saying, I don't give access easily, you're not rejecting her. You're inviting her to rise. You're making it clear that your attention, your time, your intimacy are earned, not given to just anyone. And that makes them valuable. Most men, out of fear, offer too much too fast. They open their world, their energy, and their attention before a woman even proves she's worthy of it. But when you take your time, when you move with intention, you shift the dynamic. She starts to wonder, what makes him so selective? Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most men imagine that holding back will make them lose her. But in truth, holding frame is what makes a woman respect and desire you more. Say this line calmly, with composure. not to boast, but to affirm your values. Let her feel that your access is rare and it means something. And suddenly, so does she. If you're finding value in these insights, if these phrases are opening your mind to a whole new level of presence and connection, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. It's one small click that helps us create more deep, practical, and powerful videos like this for men like you. Your support means everything, and it fuels this mission of building a generation of men who lead with clarity, strength, and stoic wisdom. Thank you for being here. Part 7. You don't have to try so hard around me. This phrase might be the gentlest thing you ever say to a woman, and at the same time, the most powerful. Why? Because it does something no one else is doing. It relieves her of the pressure to perform. In today's world, most women walk around armored. They're used to being judged, compared, expected to meet impossible standards. So even when she looks confident, there's often a subtle tension underneath. The constant need to prove, to impress, to be enough. When you say, "You don't have to try so hard around me," you're offering her emotional freedom. And make no mistake, that's rare. You're telling her, "I'm not here to evaluate you. I'm here to experience you, the real you." This line disarms her, but not by force. It's soft, spacious, and when paired with the grounded energy of a stoic man, it becomes magnetic. Because now you're not just a man. You're a sanctuary in a world of noise. A stoic doesn't need people to change for him. He stands rooted and lets others feel safe in his presence. And that safety? It's what allows deeper attraction to unfold. Because when a woman feels she can exhale around you, when she doesn't have to filter her thoughts or shapeshift her identity, she won't want to be anywhere else. Let your calmness be the space where her real self finally feels welcome. Part 8. Let's not pretend this isn't real. This is the moment when you cut through the fog. The banter, the flirtation, the hidden glances, they've all been leading here. You feel the chemistry. So does she. And this line is your way of saying, "I'm not afraid to name what's obvious." Let's not pretend this isn't real isn't about pressure. It's about presence. It's not clingy. It's not needy. It's clear, grounded, and bold. You're acknowledging the elephant in the room without dramatizing it. You're claiming the moment. Why does this work? Because most men hesitate when it matters most. They fear vulnerability. They dance around the truth. But when you lean in with calm conviction, when you speak from truth rather than impulse, it signals maturity, courage, and emotional authority. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable, Seneca. This is that moment, to stand in the intensity, not to escape it, not to control it, but to own it fully. And here's the twist. When you say this, you're not trying to get anything. You're simply expressing what is. No games, no pretending, just grounded awareness. That's what stoic men do. They don't beg, they don't hide. They state the truth with strength and then let the moment unfold naturally. And when she sees that, she feels something deeper than attraction. She feels respect, magnetism, and an undeniable pull toward your energy. The real reason these phrases work. Before we close, let's take a moment to zoom out. You might be thinking, okay, I've got the lines, I've got the posture, but what if I still don't feel confident using them? That's a valid question. And here's the truth most won't tell you. The power of these phrases doesn't come from the words themselves. It comes from the man behind the words. If you say these lines from a place of insecurity, performance, or outcome seeking, they'll fall flat. But if you say them from a place of self-possession, from the energy of a man who knows who he is, then even the simplest phrase becomes magnetic. This is where Stoicism separates itself from every other dating philosophy. Because Stoicism doesn't teach you to fake anything. It teaches you to master yourself first, and let everything else flow from that. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of attraction. You don't need tricks, you don't need permission, you need alignment. When your words, your energy, and your intentions are all congruent, she will feel it. Instantly. So ask yourself honestly, do you say less and observe more? Do you listen to respond or to understand? Are you grounded in your values or swayed by her reactions? These are the inner questions Stoic men ask themselves. Because attraction is not something you chase. It's something you emit. So before you go out and try these phrases, take a moment. Sit in silence. Reflect on who you are becoming. That's where your voice will come from. That's where true presence is born. Because the most irresistible man in the room isn't trying to be anything. He's just unshakably himself. Speak like a man who needs nothing. These phrases don't work because they're clever. They work because they come from a man who's anchored in himself. A man who doesn't chase validation, but radiates clarity. A man who doesn't speak to win approval, but to express truth. That's the difference. And women can feel it instantly. Every phrase you've learned today is more than a line. It's a reflection of your inner state. Because your energy speaks before your words ever do. You can't fake calm. You can't fake conviction. You can't fake the quiet power of a man who's done the inner work. When you carry yourself with stoic presence, your words become rare, intentional, heavy in the best way. You're no longer speaking to impress, you're speaking with awareness. And that's the kind of energy that reshapes dynamics without force. So remember, it's not about trying to make her fall for you. It's about becoming a man who's so self-possessed, so internally secure that others are drawn to your presence, not because you chase, but because you don't have to. Let these phrases be reminders, anchors, mirrors. Not to manipulate, but to elevate your communication to the level of quiet influence. Because the man who doesn't need anything often gets everything. Comment this below as your declaration. I speak with presence, not permission. Let that be your code moving forward. Say it, own it, live it. And if this message hit home, drop a comment and let us know which phrase opened your eyes, or which one you're ready to embody starting today. Subscribe, because in the next video, we'll dive even deeper into the Stoic psychology of attraction, power, and emotional mastery. Thank you for watching, and remember, the strongest voice in the room is often the one that doesn't need to raise its volume. Stay grounded, stay sharp, stay stoic.